Hi guys, welcome back to game number 4 of week 4, day number 2 of the PCS Summer Split 2022. Once again, I'm Ririchu, this is Clement, and we would like to thank our sponsors, as always, for keeping the lights on here at the PCS. It's Riot Games, Carry Live Garena, as well as CTBC Bank, who not only sponsor the league, as Clement is always saying, they also sponsor a team here in the PCS. So huge props to CTBC for, all the help that they're doing and helping to keep the PCS alive and thriving. Clement, we're coming off of a crazy Mordekaiser game from PSG versus DCG. What do we think about that one really quickly before we get into JT versus S9?
I think this meta is all about playing to your strengths, playing your style, and I feel like a lot of teams actually play a little bit too slow. We see the same thing today. It's Frank and PSG with kind of a no mid-game composition, getting stomped by a much more aggressive, much more tempo-paced composition coming in.
Yeah, I love that phrase, just no mid-game composition, just what was Frank doing early on, but enough about that. We're here for game number 4. It's GT versus Sem 9th, Sem 1-9, I don't know, but there's the JT roster on your screens. It's going to be rock in for today. Come at Uniboy, Lil V, as well as Enso. They're coming off of a not too characteristic performance from them yesterday. Yesterday kind of was a disaster for them, all things considered. Lil V and Enso played the Lucian Nami over on the bot side, just absolutely could not get any type of early game pressure. We'll go more into that later on, but right now it's the Sem 9 boys on your screens. Nonin, Arashi, Siedoda, Asin, as well as Caspiel. And I think the name of the game for Sem 9 for PCS Summer has just been the musical chairs that they're playing with their roster. Not even just the players, but also their... That's true. That is true. That's true. We're talking about which team has more of the roster. What is going on? I think IMP does win in that regard. What do you think of the featured matchup today, Clement?
Well, we do have Kongre coming in with a little bit, I think it was hit with a bit of COVID, so that's why they're not playing in their booths, but staying at their base. As we can see, Kongre is kind of isolated from everyone else. We have to watch closely if that compromises his performance, but I would say so far Kongre has been doing a great job this split. I think his engage is much more in sync with the rest of the team. They're playing rather aggressive comps, and the biggest change to this split is that J-Team is almost completely a bottom side, early game focused gank squad team. So you see a lot of level 3 ganks from him coming over. You see Kongre actually, for the first time in his career, actually dropping down in terms of EXP gain early to try and facilitate his lanes even harder. On the flip side, I feel like Arashi's job is a little bit more different. He has to be more of a carry in his own right. I feel like the side of Sem 9, their carries are not always guaranteed. Ashing, it really depends on his champion pool if he can dish out damage. Same thing for Shijudu and No Name. There's a lot more, I think, laning phase issues that are up in the air for Sem 9, so Arashi plays more for his own pool.
Yeah, and straight off the bat, it's going to be the Seraphine ban versus Asing, which is really damaging for S9, not gonna lie. I mean, Seraphine is a typical 12-12 ban, but versus S9, like Asing's champion pool just is not great. So we'll have to see. I mean, yesterday he was forced to pull out the Nico. It did not end well. Spoiler alert for Sem 9 yesterday. So we'll see what the response for today is, because it seemed as if like the answers that they were trying to find coming into week 4, it did not work on day number 1. So already it's going to be the Ari, Callista, Jerry, Trundle, Nar, and Seraphine bands, mostly pretty standard on 12-12. It does leave the Aphelios first pick wide open for Lil V. It's something that Lil V is absolutely 100% comfortable playing. It's pretty much his signature champion at this point. It's one of the champs that he's the best at, especially recently. So S9 look to try and respond to that that with the Senna pickup, there's still like a lot of options available for Aphelios. However, I think Sum9 might want to go for a jungler or a mid here.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Sem9 is they have so many position swaps that we typically don't see them reveal their supports or mid lanes too early. We saw Shindudu play Corki, we saw him play Tristana, and then we saw Ashi just play Sion and Nico. It's very difficult to pinpoint their champion pool.
This is interesting.
They hold on to their cards until they see more from J-Team, and it looks like what J-Team are going for is kind of playing the other side of the coin from yesterday's game, where they lost to the Aphelios on the Illusion Nami, like you mentioned. They had a really strong early game, but they didn't make that much use of it. So I feel like JT might be swinging to the other side and trying to play more defensive, trying to play more for little V coming into this one.
So they do lock the Poppy as well as the Tom Kench. I think that JT were kind of trying to I think they expected Sum9 to lock in the Poppy instead of the Wukong because JT banned out the Trundle. So I think the fact that they realized Sum9 actually locked Wukong, which is why they instantly hovered the Poppy, realizing that it was actually free. But they do manage to pick up both Tom as well as Poppy. So I think so far everything is going according to JT's plan right now in terms of the draft phase. And there's the Sion again. Sion and Wukong together are a pretty disgusting combo, so no one likes to go up against them. Kind of guessing that Lovi will be running Cleanse again on Aphelios this time around. I mean, they do have Poppy for some sort of disengage, but I mean, it's always going to be very hard to try and peel the Wukong or Sion off of your carry. So we'll see what JT decide to respond to this. The S9 are going to ban out the Talia versus Uniboy. I think that that's more of a meta ban because Uniboy's champ pool is pretty large. He's one of the more versatile mid laners in the PCS. I mean, sure, he likes to play carries, but he can also play other champions pretty well just because he's so mechanically skilled. We will see. I mean, we did raise the question, you know, of like just from the player cams, Uniboy yesterday clearly looked to be in isolation. Kongyue today as well, so maybe it is the COVID that the team is dealing with. However, they haven't made any type of official announcement on their social media, which, you know, if you look at the other leagues across the world, like LEC, LCK, for example, when the players do come down with COVID, I mean, teams are very open about this. It's just that, you know, in the PCS so far, we haven't really seen very many official announcements, but that is what we're suspecting is the reason for JT's performance yesterday. But yep, Azir, proceed.
I really like that takeaway coming in against J-Team here. I feel like giving a 0 over to J-Team squad just makes them way too powerful, and they can just get the Sand Soldiers up right after Sion decides to engage, cutting off everyone. J-Team are still going to go for the same game plan. This is slow, it's a lot of scaling, it's a lot of terrain control, and this is the wild card in. You might not think it fits the rest of the composition, but I feel like Uniboy always does a little bit better with something he has agency on, has a little bit of playmaking potential. So they round this comp out beautifully. They can play a 1-3-1 very well. They're like Aphelios is great wave clear, and you have the protection of the Tom Kench. You have to keep away from the Poppy, and then you have two great side laners. On the other hand, for Sem9, wow, what an interesting composition. What is this?
Vlad versus Gangplank, we're bringing it old school. But I mean, Silas for Uniboy does make a lot of sense. He does have the playmaking potential. Also because we're talking about how scary Sem9's composition is in terms of ultimates, in terms of team fights. That's always the way that you want to play the Silas, and it's the type of comp you want to pick Silas into. Because when there are better ultimates for you to steal from the enemy side, that is only going to make your own team fight even stronger. So good pickup from Uniboy. Also, the fact that they're putting Gangplank on Rock is interesting because you haven't seen all that much from Rock lately. He is, of course, newly added to the J Team roster this summer, and the way that they've been subbing Rock in and out, it just seems as if J Team tend to field him when their matchup is versus a lower ranked team.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the only pattern that we can tell. So versus like Sem9, then they're willing to try and sub Rock in. So we don't get a lot of opportunities to see him play on champions that require a lot of mechanical skills. So it'll be interesting to see how he does versus the Vladimir matchup. I hope that he's able to play the early game well and really able to like just abuse Vladimir in the early stages of the game. But we will see. I mean, they are running the Wukong as well, so it's always a question of where Sem9 are going to call the jungle attention too.
I think Sem9's comp is so fun. I
It's
love
so
this
scary.
draft. I would call this the anti-keeper verdict, keeper's verdict draft, because you have someone that can engage while in the Sanguine pool. Vladimir is running Ghost for no name. He can get over like keeper's verdict quite easily, and he can also just not be affected by the W coming in from Poppy, so very easy for him to reach the back line. Same thing goes for Cyan as well. He's unstoppable during the charge, so you can't really deny him. You can just rush through all the barrels, all the R's that Poppy is going to set down, and that's, I think, Sem9's best trait. When they can play super aggressive, get to your back line, and everyone go in at the same time, you lower the floor, lower the ceiling for execution, and you just have very clear go signals. That's usually the best spot for lower tier teams to be.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's all going to come down to how well Lil V can kite and whether we're going to see the Lil V that we're used to or if we're going to see the Lil V from yesterday. I think that's what today's matchup will really tell us because JT had an uncharacteristic loss in yesterday's game. And the thing is, we were kind of wondering, is JT just not performing well in these few days? We saw after yesterday's loss, JT actually posted on their official Facebook fan page. They said they did not mince words. They actually literally said in Mandarin, we're sorry that we played today. And then they said that their communication, their focus was completely off, and there were a couple of external factors that were affecting the team, which is why they had yesterday's performance. So today versus Sem9, who is pretty far on towards the bottom. They're literally tied bottom, especially after Jewish team got a win earlier. I think this is really going to be a measure of where JT is at right now in terms of their performance these few days.
Just looking across the starts here, we do have a bit of a lead here by J Team. They got the early ward down on the red buff, so we will know where Arashi starts out here. Will allow Rock to play relatively safe. And I do want to mention that Rock this split has mainly just been playing Gangplank. It's kind of his go-to champion. I feel like J Team, because of how well Little V has been doing, and especially how well Enso has been doing, they've been very much a bottom side focused team. So you see a lot more champions like Gangplank that can just assist the bottom lane without actually leaving the lane itself. Earlier on, though, we're taking a look at this level 1 trade, and it does look like Caspiel is getting a lot of auto attacks down onto Little V. Little V only down to less than half HP.
Yeah, this is not good. He does have 2 pots, so he does still have pot advantage in the lane right now, but just taking this much damage so early, getting chunked, is not the best. They're gonna have to kind of hug tower right here, wait for the wave to push in, which means that they're going to lose the level 2. First, you can see S9 are tuning that level 2 before Lil V as well as Enso. So it's not that big of a deal. Caspiel isn't really going to be doing all that much extra damage with the level 2 early on. Lil V shouldn't really have a problem farming under the tower. But yeah, it's just little disadvantages like that might make a difference later on in the game. And you can see Dodo on the Azir also, I think, up a couple of CS off of Uniboy. Kongyue on Poppy, meanwhile, is not quite the champion that you would expect Kongyue to play. Oh, there's a channel knockup.
Dives straight onto Caspiel, is going to burn his flash right off the bat. It's 2 auto attacks away. The heal isn't a full deal, but he still is able to get out. One last auto attack needed to take him down. J-Team, they sink everything into it. Haven't found the kill just yet.
Whew, that was close, and Gaspiel, he's back into lane. My man don't care. He just walked straight back, and yep, he's out. He's out. There's no way he can stay. He's gonna go down for sure, even though JT are down all of their offensive summoners. But he is still in a bit of a dangerous spot. Neither team has called their jungler. Both junglers over towards top side. So kind of should be backing off soon, though. Right now, Kumir is trying to make a gank happen for Uniboy.
With the interruption, gets a good trade down here. Now, in this lane, it typically is assumed that Azir does get a small bit of lead in CS and priority until later on. Now, Kumir's going to come in. Caspiel has absolutely nothing in the bank right here.
Oh, he's on board.
Literally has to grab him as well. If he takes a bad position, it could be a burst, but looks like with the minion wave arriving here, it's going to be a bit harder. Kongre also knows the ward is there, but they're still going to go in for it regardless. In goes Kongre. Can he find the angle to knock Caspiel back behind the tower? Is actually going to go towards a minion, and in comes the TP. No kills found whatsoever. Shetududu does need to come in and defend this, but they will be completely safe while also taking away a flash from the jungler.
Yeah, I mean, Kumir, he had good instincts right there, right? Because he went for the flank, and then he saw Stem9 just kind of reposition slightly, and so he thought, oh, there must be a ward here. I think he thought, like, they knew that he was there, so he went back to hit the plant to just double confirm that he was standing on a ward. He also pre-drank the potion before the gank, but then unfortunately had to walk out of that one. Right now it's Arash's turn to try to make something happen, and I think I want to walk out of that one, though. I think they're just gonna go for, yeah, they're just gonna let the wave push in, and that should be enough for them.
Meanwhile, in the top lane, we do have to point out that Ashi gets stuck here. Okay,
oh no, that's the tilt. That's the tilt, man.
Yeah, it's always the worst when the enemy already has the wave in this position and then they stop you, because they can straight push into the wave or at least deny it back. Looks like Sion will be staying around for this one, but it does mean that there will be no stacks gained for the Senna in this instance. Definitely a small win for J-Team. You always like to see people get those. Meanwhile, in the top lane, I do want to point out that we don't have a TP from No Name. So this is, you know, early levels against Rock that can just TP back and get a Sheen. Always a little bit difficult to play, but he's holding up very well. He's actually has the CS lead, and he's already hit the level 6 first potential mark. It's been a while since we've seen Vladimir. I know he's been played in other leagues, but I really want to see how he can do in PCS.
Yeah, I mean, usually Vladimir doesn't have the best early game, especially versus champs like Gangplank, who are going to have like the superior range, the superior auto attack versus him. Also, when Vladimir gets shoved under tower, lower levels, it's also hard for him to pick up the entire wave during this for the CS. So No Name's actually been doing a pretty good job of keeping pretty much bang even with Rock over in the top side. But yeah, I mean, they've already got. Oh, Ashen, he had the teleport just now, he's just switched it to the Flash Ignite with the spell book. So S9 could potentially have that 2 teleports to match Uniboy as well as Rock if they need to. So it's not that big of a deal, although the fact that Vlad doesn't have TP means he can't TP into those crucial team fights, but he does have Ghost. So he's kind of going to go for the run at you from the side lane from Fog of War play, which is pretty scary. Also,
yeah, we are seeing an interesting build right here. Going for the Airy, just for a little bit more lane strength as well. We have seen phase rushes and stuff, as we do find another Abyssal Void right onto Ashi. Deals a lot of damage right here. He's holding onto the flash, should be fine. But Kongyue finds Caspiel against the wall. The flash isn't there, only heal available. They also take down the flash. Oh, in comes Arashi to try and save this fight, but down goes Caspiel anyway. Cannon Barrage is going to finish the job. It gets a kill from across the map, always quite nice for the Gangplank. And the J-Team plan is on. This is how they've always played recently. You get your wins in the bot side, and then you move them across the map.
Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed by Caspiel. in the early stages of this game just because Caspio is one of those veterans who's been in the Malaysian League of Legends scene for so long. I mean, he was the one of the crowning players on their old squad back when they had Kuala Lumpur Hunters, who were the dominant team in Malaysia back in the GPL. This is a major throwback, but I mean, in general, when teams pick up Caspiel, when they field Caspiel, it's because he has so much experience playing the game, and teams tend to expect him to like shot call, and they pick him for his game sense. So the fact that he's not really showing the best game sense in the first couple of minutes of this game is just a bit disappointing.
Only down 1 kill right here. Always definitely. I'm always a secret Sem9 fan. I feel like their compositions are so fun to look at.
Yeah.
Even though a lot of times my head aches as a
Yeah.
color caster, and I'm just like, okay, what is this comp do? I'm not exactly sure, but I'm willing to stay here and find out. So.
I just, cause they're coming in today literally Sem 1 and 9. Like, I just want them to break the Sem 1 and 9 curse. I don't even care if they go Sem 1 and 10. Like Sem 2 9, I don't care. I just want them. I want them to get a dub. You know.
Koga comes in again. Can he find the angle? Goes for Ashing and pops him into zombie mode already. Can Enzo get out is the question, but it looks like he's absolutely fine. He does get the slow onto Ashing, and yeah, just great find. This is why we pick our poppies for just tank first. Very difficult to deal with. And I feel like Sem9's game plan has to accommodate for the fact that the bottom lane is not going so well. Typically, we have seen them actually lose lane quite a few times, and what they do is they rotate early and try to find those comebacks.
Can I just say that tank burst should not be a thing? Like Poppy, Sejuani, the Leona buffs to like giving her more damage, that just should not be a thing. Like if you're a tank, you ought to just be a tank, you know? Why do you have damage also? Like something is
Game
not
balance
right.
purposes, I would say.
Tank burst? I mean, come on, that don't sound right.
I think the worst offender definitely has to be Ornn. Probably Sejuani in this patch as well.
Yeah, Sejuani right now.
That's 65% of your HP, by the way. That's just one rotation.
Yep, like how is that even fair? Where is that coming from? But yeah, I mean, it's the reason why, you know, champs such as Poppy, such as Sedge are so high priority in the meta right now. But Asing, once again, he's gonna be a walkout if that one just fine. Also still has a flash up. And it's just a bit worrying how Sem9 are pretty much giving Lovi free roam to farm. He's about 20 CS up off of his lane counterpart right now, and allowing Lil V on his comfort of Helios pick the freedom to just scale into late game is just not a thing that any team playing versus J team ought to do.
Absolutely. Very terrifying for Lil V to get in that position. In comes Uniboy. Has a lot of help. Let's see if they can find the 3v1. They do get Shedudu, but he pushes him back into his own turret. Kongre stops him with the Keeper's Verdict, gets the knockdown plus the kill. Sem9 are looking for blood and for vengeance. They may not find it just yet. Little V in the meantime, happy to take this 1v1 against Ashin. Yes, he might be taking off in his lane, but he doesn't really have all that much power compared to the 80 carry right here.
Oh, Lil V committed so much. He used his ultimate in the middle of that also, and then realized, wait, I actually can't finish him off.
Caspiel pops a steadfast presence. The slow is down, gets the stun, and in comes Uniform for the two-man game. Goodbye, Ashi. You've been a good coach.
Oh, he's dead for real, for real.
I'm surprised he would flash that. Oh, that's interesting. I think it was dead either way.
Yeah, I mean, he had to learn from Caspiel, man. Caspiel held his flash so well, and not only used it to get up, used it to, I think he was escaping one of the skills from the side of the JT as well, otherwise he would have gotten CC'd. So very good patience from the side of Caspian. Positioning, not that great, but the fact that he was able to make it out of that one was really good. Talking about positioning, JT here, they have a very sneaky position over in the river. They had two in the river bush right there. Very textbook 3 versus 1 to pick up that kill as well. And talking about kills, it's 34-0 in favor of JT. They have about 2,000 gold right now at the 13-minute mark. They've got Enswell just helping out Uniboy to push out mid lane. They've also got First Dragon, you know, S9 are trying to do what they can. They're going to pick up 2 tower plates over in bot side right before 14 minutes. So it's extra 320 gold for them. They're going to back out. They do see Enzo walking over into the Tribush ward. But so far, I mean, JT has been playing it pretty well. A lot better than yesterday. S9, though, a bunch of mistakes. Oh.
I do want to point out in the meantime, it looks like No Name did get a Herald drop up top. First one was taken by Arashi during all the plays in the bottom side. Let's see if Rock can survive the dive here. No Name actually takes 3-4 tower shots and miraculously survives that one.
Yeah, he didn't even have his ultimate.
Opponent comes in, the push also comes down, but Caspiel got nowhere to go. That double Emperor's Divide right there. The wrong one, hitting Caspiel, unfortunately. And now Rock is back again. Ooh, I think with Uniboy coming in, 7-9 have to cut their losses. This just isn't going to work out.
Yeah, it's always really hard to dive the GP. Like, kind of, the more people you have versus Gangplank, the stronger he gets, because he's just going to drop his AoE ultimate down. It's going to slow everyone. It's going to do damage to everyone. He'll have more range for, like, the barrel, as well as easier to hit. And no, what is he doing? Not again!
The flash in to stop the coach from escaping. But Senna is coming in, so Ashen is going to survive with the W coming up. A lot of ability used right here, and I think, you know, credit to 7-9, they've been able to keep Aphelios at least in this lane. Shedudu walking into a copy, definitely bad for his age, health, and Caspiel nearly goes down just to the burst. Arashi coming in with the Q, gets the death flash too. Massive win for 7-9 as they burn double songs, plus save a losing lane.
Yeah, and JT, they're gonna be able to get the Hextech Dragon off of this of the pressure that they already got from bottom side. So good conversion by them. It's gonna be their second dragon take of the game so far. Meanwhile, Uniboy with the wing swap over to the bottom side is also gonna get first brick on the bot side, tier 1. So there's the mountain going to take over the map for the extra tank stats. Would be good for either of these teams, actually. Wukong Vladimir, Poppy, Silas.
Can't wait for the 7-9 team fight, because Little V is about to feel the pain here. They get the Gale Force here, they start the Herald, and look at Little V. He's got no summoners, he's got a train, and then a vampire heading his way.
Yeah.
That sounds like a sad Little V to me, so I want to see 7-9 make their comp work. This is such a fun comp. There's so much like crazy engaged stuff. And a lot of it is unstoppable by Poppy.
I'm surprised that Lil V also went for the heal for sustain in lane, because that just kind of shows respect versus Caspian asking, right? But then he doesn't have cleanse for the team fight. So
here comes the counter train. Uniboy going into the front line. Ashi might be falling down here. Grabbed him used already, and they got everyone stuck on the cannon barrage. Korea going in with a 3-man Keeper's Verdict, but they don't find any follow-up here, and you get the first. In goes Arashi straight into the back line. This is Little V running for his life. That's a double cyclone. The front line is collapsing for Korea. He goes down, and they're still chasing forward. Shedudu might follow. They're just trying to get Little V. The second shot finally gets him, and 7-9 with a beautiful counter engage. They hit the back line. They use Arashi's stealth to get right in front of Little V, and that was a chase that JT could not afford.
What is going on? JT started the fight. They had Uniboy use the Cyan ult and use that to start the fight. JT were the ones who wanted to get that one rolling, but they got rolled instead. And it looks like 7-9, they're not going to stop here. They're trying to pull Shelly over towards the top side. They don't quite have a good position on this. Yeah, they're gonna let her reset and head back because there's one member of JT still hanging around the side. We're gonna take a look at this engage. Boys gonna show up from mid. There's Unstoppable Force. Only hits one though in the front, and I think though V doesn't quite have the space and the position to really deal as much damage as he would like.
The mountain terrain really killed them because they
Yeah.
were forced to walk through that
They couldn't walk around the
tight
rock.
funnel, and that was a three-man's Emo Plague in the back line, followed up by a double spin Cyclone. Frontline just melts here. I feel like Kongre went too far into that one.
Yeah,
they had the arrow.
Yeah, Kumir like just tried to run straight at Sem9, whereas the rest of his squad was a bit further behind and couldn't follow up. So it was a bit difficult. Also, Helios, he's not really the best. You don't want to get him into the tight corner to try 1v5, especially when you don't quite have that front line just yet. So it's always going to be a bit difficult once the front line dies. Also, it just leaves Lil V wide open at that point. But we are seeing the player goal. It's Uniboy once again. As he often is at the top of the player goal chart, and
Up, Little V is
Enzo
the
so
one getting
low.
caught here. Does get out with the blast gun, but what about Enzo? That's a Cyclone going down. He gets charged down by a train, and goodbye back line. J-Team still trying to hold on to all the scraps right here. Uniboy has a massive bounty. Can he keep it? No, he's gonna fall down, and J-Team overstepped their bounds. Their bot line just walks through no man's land, no pun intended, and gets absolutely decimated.
No names land. Is that what we're going for?
That's unfortunately what I went for. That's what my brain told me to go for.
I mean, that's what JT's brains told them to go for too, and it did not end well for them. Not gonna lie, in that last one. I mean, Uniboy, I think he also didn't quite recognize that he has a massive bounty on him. He was 4-0 before this misread.
Why are they walking up? That's
Oh, they think. Oh no. Yeah, they're forced to use the blast cone out right there, but Enzo's already so low. So the fact that he's so low means that he can't really like use the Q and then get the passive proc stun off of anyone, so he's not really useful at that point in time. Then Uniboy just way too far in the backline, tries to at least take no name down with him, but doesn't quite work out. So he's gonna give up the gold bounty, and you can see the gold difference over time just dropping drastically in favor of S9 at around the 20-minute mark. We've managed to pull the gold difference down to only about 500 gold right here now that the second dragon has spawned, and it does look like S9 have a prio. So JT, yep, their ward in the back is going to get cleared out, and I don't think JT can really try and steal. I mean, Poppy doesn't quite have a lot of steal options available to her. It could be an easy pickup for some 9.
no, not a lot of people were there to contest this one, and it does break the Drake chain on J-Team. So their hopes of ending this early I think are out the window, and now they have to contest with No Name getting a lot of gold, Shidu getting a lot of gold, and I think the worst thing out of it is, at this point, I'm pretty sure Arashi can actually solo out Little V. If the Devourer is used early, Arashi is so fed at this point, he can probably deal with Little V by himself. So, I don't see J-Team really keeping their backline alive. I think the game has evolved into the Yuli Boy show instead, and we have to see him keep the front there. I feel like it has to be the the Emperor's Divide being used correctly, as Little V is going to find some company here. He has to flash across the wall. His support is not that lucky. Doesn't have anything left in the tank. He's going to go down. Cannon Barrage dissuades no one. And Rock, I don't think he can keep anyone here. He's trying to get the triple chain. Won't find it. Clean win from Sem9.
Yeah, they do pick up And so on the Tom Kench as well. And I'm pretty surprised that we're seeing some really good rotations and map play coming out from 7-9. You know, we had doubts in the first 10 minutes or so. We were just kind of wondering what they were doing, giving up all these little advantages in the lane here and there. Like Caspiel with his movement was a bit weird. But now that we're solidly into the mid game, I think S9 has been skirmishing pretty well, you know, catching out some members of JT off of guard to try and bring this game back. And yeah, it's as you mentioned, just getting more and more worrisome for the Aphelios. They're gonna have to count on Silas for the damage. The thing is, though, I mean, he's got Leandries. He's going for more of the sustained team fight. Just because when you look at the Sum 9 squad, there's no one that he can burst down and kill. Pretty much. Maybe the Azir, maybe the Senna as well, but they just have such a massive front line that it's going to be pretty hard to try and insta burst down most of the members on Sum 9. So you can't really play for those picks either. So it's a bit difficult for JT. They don't have as many options left.
Oof, it's so difficult for J-Team to actually get through the front line at this point. Sen9, I feel like they just have all the kills on very threatening places like the Wukong.
Yeah.
And literally still doesn't have the flash, so I think Sem9 can actually just start this with a lot of confidence and even just do turnaround play. If I'm Sem9, I'm willing to flip the coin right here, right now. And in they go.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the Azir, so they know that if JT try and fight at them, even if the Baron is a bait, they've always got the Azir ultimate to turn it around. But here's the collapse from JT.
Oh, just knock away the Azir, but at what cost? Conrad going low already. Someone can actually turn around and get right back onto it. Oh, Rashi pops the ultimate here. Oh, that was the second proc, so it was about to go down anyway. And yeah, Sem9 are just going to start this once again. Berserk's down. Let's go. Cannon Barrage already down.
Second time's the charm. There's the Azir just blocking that river entrance to the Sandstorm. Just, oh,
Shedudu still managed to find the ultimate down. The Dawning Shadow goes through the entire team, and Sem9 are able to play keep away for now. Enzo goes in to save his mid laner, and somehow miraculously, J-Team lose absolutely no one. They dissuade the Baron despite being down 2 ultimates there. That's a beautiful play.
yeah, I mean, a bit confusing from both sides. I think that both sides are playing it very cautious this time around. I also don't think that Sem9 were that serious about Baron. They're really just trying to start the fight using the Baron as a bait. But once it started to look like not a great fight for them, they were just willing to back out. But neither team really gaining an advantage. I think the fact that Sem9 didn't get Baron is already enough of an advantage for J-Team. J-Team would like to keep having Prio in the lanes. The tower score right now 3-3, so it's tied on both sides. But really, except for top lane, J-Team don't really have the push going on. It's pushing a bit in bot as well, but they don't want to give up the Baron buff over to 7-9. I think they're a bit content to try and Little V farming for now. That's what they're kind of playing for. The thing is, if they make it to late game and J-Team have a bad team fight, then it's just going to be game over for them. So hopefully it works out, but definitely the pace of the game has slowed a bit. Although Mixed Dragon is up.
Let's see how NoName can find his way into the middle of J-Team members here. We haven't yet seen that big emo play. But it is coming. Ashin looking for the angle to get the unstoppable onslaught on. And it is Arashi that actually steals away the Drake. That's going to be the second mount. NoName, on the other hand, though, caught out by Uniboy. Dies before he can even touch Little V. J-Team with a massive window for a Baron play. Let's see if they go for the objective. Right off the bat, it does look like they're just beelining towards Baron. Sem9 now are the ones that have to play defense. They get pretty close. Verdict is going to land on the Shidudu, so I don't think it actually will do all that much. They're heading for the second tower right here. Ashi going to try to keep this play alive. Uniboy goes in and gets the scoop onto the backline. Caspiel had both sums up, but could not react in time. Uniboy with the hero play pretty much cements the mid lane control and a lot more time to set up for that Baron.
Yeah, that was smart from J-Team because I'm not sure we'll see this on the replay. They might not start it that early, but Kongyo, when he used the Poppy ultimate to knock Seedora back, it was because their mid tier 1 was actually chunked pretty low, so they wanted to make sure that they would for sure guarantee the mid tier 1, so they don't want the Azir to just, drop his ultimate, push all of them back, and then they just can't continue with the push. So they first knock the Azir far away from the team fight, they make sure they get tier 1, and then they go for the dive simultaneously, which was very smart of them because as they're at 8, the mid tier 1, Uniboy dives the backline, that way they ensure that they will for sure get something out of it, either tower or the skirmish. This time around they did get both, so smart play from the side of JT.
Just absolutely beautiful stuff. I have to say, Uniboy is keeping J-Team alive.
He's goated. He's goated for sure.
Oh, that was absolutely huge. And then he finds the scoop back on Caspiel. Caspiel had the flash, by the way, but just gets taken down by the abduct, stun lock, and stolen Emperor Survive.
Wait, we're not getting the replay? Hey, come on.
There should be a Uniboy highlight at the end. Like, at the end of the game, we're just going to sit down and watch like 30 minutes of Uniboy highlights.
They're saving it for his highlight reel.
Yeah. We're going to go all the way back to Season 8 just to watch his Zoe play. And that's going to be our entire post game.
We're going to forget the 1 year.
LGD never happened.
We're going to forget the year that Uniboy had in LPL, where...
The only game I remember about his LPL stint is that he beat Fofo in Link. That's the only thing.
That's true, but then then your team still loses and they can't cover.
Let's be completely honest. LGD probably would not have been a great team. Either way, so
yes, Uniboy is never the problem. We're a bit biased because in PCS, like Uniboy just looks so strong.
Did you just see that from Arashi? That was 1 Q, and Kongyo building full tank definitely felt that because he is building for Force of Nature right here. Doesn't have all that much armor. It might be a problem. So we're going into the critical fight of this game. I still feel like Sem9 have a pretty decent shot at just destroying J-Team. It's just about the angle of the game. If no one can find the backline, I feel like it's instantly over. You have so much ability to just kill Little V. Arashi can go invisible. You have the Dawning Shadow coming across the entire front. So it's just about No Name. No Name's the hardest piece to get into place, but once it's there, he's like a nuclear bomb going off.
I agree. I think like level 16 and level 18, I think S9 just win. Also, they have the option of Dragon Soul that they can still play for later on, which is just always going to be that nagging feeling in the back of JT's mind right now. So S9 only have 2. The thing is, the third one is up in 1 minute. If S9 gets Soul, just like in the previous game, I think it's going to be over for JT, because if they get those stats onto Vladimir, Wukong, and Sion, there's absolutely no way that JT will be able to fight the front line of Sem9 after that. So that's always going to be at the back of JT's mind, that they must fight 4th Dragon. They can maybe not fight this one, but that means that they're for sure going to have to fight the 4th. So it kind of leaves their plan very telegraphed, because S9 know what they're going to do, and you can see the setup right now. 20 seconds into next dragon. S9 here in the bot river. Oh, Kongyo
gets the smite down. That should be J-Teams. That's an important one. Does give them that speed buff right in front of the Drake. And I think J-Team is doing the right thing here by splitting across the map. Their biggest advantage so far is the fact they have that extra TP in the late game from Gameplank, and they also have a very fed Uniboy that can play sides. So they are going to level that one. They burn this TP from Shedudu, and they engage before the Azir actually arrives. They get the Keeper's Verdict onto the jungler. No smite right here. They get the Mountain Soul, and now the question is, do they want to re-engage onto this one? It's a little bit difficult still. The Uniboy is actually waiting on a ward. This could go pretty bad, but looks like it's going to be fine for now as Sem9 chases over towards the top side. Uniboy gonna take a solo. This could be a 1v2 on the top against Caspiel. Can he actually find the abduct? The Q goes down, the stun goes down, and Caspiel's nearly down. The Fed Silas doing it by himself. He's gonna pick up 2 carries. He does! And the front line is down on the side of 7-9. This is the Uniboy show! We were talking so much smack about him, we forgot how good Uniboy actually is. I don't even think 7-9 realized how much danger they were in.
I am so sorry, Uniboy. I will never doubt you again for as long as I live. Please accept my apologies. That 1v3 was absolutely whack. 7-9 was not expecting. I mean, the 1v1 versus Caspiel, sure, that's just, you know, normal versus support things. But I mean, the way Uniboy played that just mechanically, also, when he got knocked into the tower, he was 100% expecting that play. He instantly Zhanyas, gets out of that, picks up the second kill. We're gonna hear a replay of the drag fight right here.
Great fight
so
here by
denied.
And, you know, they make 100% sure they can't take this Drake. I feel like 7-9 hesitated a little bit here. They weren't fully committed on either trying to run JT down or backing out. And then they just split up in the middle of the fight, giving Uniboy this opportunity to 1v2. He gets the Hemo plate on both. That was basically tagging them on the outskirts of the circle right there, forces the heal down. And Uniboy just does a beautiful chase down. In the meantime, you see Arashi getting destroyed by Kongryun and the rest of the squad as well. Good stun, good flash from Enso to make sure it sticks.
I love how Uniboy just was so aggressive. Usually, I think a lot of mid laners, they get the first kill into the support, they back out. But Uniboy, he got the first kill on the support, he dove tower, and like, he's just built diff, man. He's just built different.
I think he was really smart in realizing that the only source of anti-heal wasn't there with the backline. It was on Arashi and it was on Ashin, so he was completely safe to just walk back if they had no damage to actually burst him down. Chase. Good stuff.
Yep. 7-9 right now aren't in a comfortable spot. They're on the back foot. They're actually just going to completely lose their bot side ended tower to the empowered minions because no one was there to defend the bot wave. Oh, I think it's stuck up under tower. I don't think S9 really want to try and defend the mid tier 2. They know that they've got to give it up. There's only 3 versus 4 in mid. Arashi has made it finally. Oh! No!
That might be the go button.
Run, Bobby!
Uniboy goes and he gets a shove onto 4 members into the Moonlight Angel, which decimates the team. No Name's finally coming in, but he's coming in a little bit late. He gets stunned down and bursted. 7-9 in tatters as only Caspiel is alive and he's running for the hills. JT is going to close this one down on the backs of Superman Uniboy.
Uniboy just absolutely wrecking face this game. We had doubts yesterday about like what JT's performance was going to be like. We said that the usual jungle mid synergy that we tend to see from Kongryun and Uniboy was just missing. Yesterday we weren't sure what the performance was going to be like, but Uniboy just shows up today, smashes face, and just gets rid of any doubt that all of us had about how JT would perform. Sure, I mean, the earlier half of the game was really dicey. We don't quite expect normal JT to have that type of approach in the game versus a team such as 7-9, but I think when it came to about like the 30-25 minute mark, Uniboy just solo was like, you know what, I've had enough, man. Today is not the day that we lose again. And he just put the team on his back and made sure that they got the dub.
This looks like such a bad play from Kongryun.
This was so sick by Uniboy.
Right in front of a full charge Ashin who had vision of him. Kongryun nearly dies right off the bat. And what does Uniboy say? He says it's time to go in. He gets the 4-man because there was also a Tom Dent right there. And not the Tom Dent, sorry. He gets the 3-man into the cannon barrage. No Name comes in late. He has the right target, but not enough damage as Kongryun off. And wow, you know how many good plays was that from Uniboy back to back to back to get them into the win. Like he kills No Name to start, he gets the 2-man of the 1v3 duel, and then finishes off the game with another 3-man Azir Shurima shuffle.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what the comms were like in that last team fight because Kongyo went in and then instantly dipped. And if you look at the four members of J Team besides Uniboy, they were all backing out. So
Mm.
I think like the comms at that point was very clear that J Team did not want to fight. I think Uniboy was probably just like, watch me, and then he goes from the side, he lands the chains onto 3, he gets the follow-up, he gets the Azir ultimate knockback onto 3 members of S9 and just instant win for J Team. I mean, what a play to close out that game.
And I felt like this was a position where Sem9 could have delivered us the third upset of the day. They were very close to
Yeah.
winning. They had, I think, the better frontline play. But the biggest issue for me is I just don't think No Name ever found the back. We just saw the Vladimir kind of fall off a cliff into the late game here.
Yeah.
Brr.
Yeah, it was really a bit of a shame because, you know, we were anticipating the last pick, Vladimir, so hard. He also went for the Ghost as well. I think it was difficult for No Name and Sem9 because neither team played a traditional 5v5. All of the team fights that we saw were like neither side wanted to start a fight. It was always one side getting surprised. Like the last couple were always like Uniboy just suddenly going in or like someone getting caught out and then the counter engage from one side. So there was no real like 5v5 in mid where Vladimir has the time to get a good position, get a flank, get that good like ghost timing to pull in and then ultimate. So it is a bit of a shame that we didn't see that utilized to its full potential. I mean, Sem9, they did last pick this Vladimir for No Name, so it's a bit of a shame that we didn't get to see it today. I mean, we didn't get to see him do great on it. We did see it today, but what we saw was forgettable. I'm gonna pretend I didn't see it. Yeah.
I think Uniboy just had his eyes on him the entire time. Like, the last two actual 5v5 team fights, Uniboy pretty much sold No Name out. So I don't think there should be any surprise at who this MVP is going to go to, and it will be Uniboy. He's holding on to #1. He's displaying it right here. 8-1-5 in his kill score, 192 damage efficiency, and 4,000, close to 5,000 gold at the end across from Shidudu here.
That 4,800 GT at the end is absolutely bonkers. You should not be about 5,000 gold up off of your lane Carnaback at the end. And the thing is, it's not as if Seatoda had a bad game at all on the Azure. I mean, he still had some ultimates that were like pretty significant. I mean, he was down a bit in CS versus Uniboy, but I mean, that's pretty much the position that almost all of the PCS mid laners are generally in when they go up against Uniboy in lane because he's such a strong laner, but 5,000 is just bonkers.
Absolutely, J-Team with another, I would say this was a very close fought victory here. Congratulations to Sem9 on a great effort, but we will have to see them try to figure out these compositions a little bit together. I'm super excited about No Name as a player. I want to see future. He's proven to us he's got some interesting takes on League of Legends. Don't go anywhere. We will be coming back to the last game of the day. We have Beyond Gaming versus Impunity for you right after these messages.